The outbreak of the coronavirus on South African shores in 2020 was declared a national disaster. This forced the authorities to find ways to curb the spread of the pandemic. One of those was to invoke the Disaster Management Act. The Act empowers the executive to declare a national state of disaster and publish regulations aimed at containing the pandemic. At first, this was welcomed across the political divide as South Africans rallied behind government in the fight against the coronavirus, which was claiming an increasing number of lives, while hospitals were overflowing with COVID-19 patients. However, as the time went by, support for government's handling of the pandemic appeared to be waning. Some opposition parties called for lockdown regulations to be relaxed or lifted.
It remains critical that what is left of the heavy-handed response to the pandemic is abolished, so that jobs and our economy can start to make a full recovery. The state of disaster must end, and it must end right away.
The Freedom Front Plus submitted a private member's bill to amend the Disaster Management Act to ensure that Parliament plays a role in deciding whether or not a national state of disaster should be declared and for how long. But the FF Plus's bill was shot down.
They voted against this private member's bill, and therefore it is proof that the government is misusing its political position for power and just extend as they wish. The Freedom Front Plus will look at other ways to see that we curb these powers of the executive, because it's no sense in further extending the state of disaster.
However, the bill is expected to be tabled and debated in the National Assembly soon. It's unclear whether it will sail through the National Assembly stage. Lula Mamakya, SABC News, Parliament.
All right, as we wait to hear if the state of disaster will come to an end or will be extended by the next 30 days, let's give you a sense of how the COVID-19 numbers are looking. 671 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. We're seeing there as zero deaths that have been recorded, around 4.6% of the positivity rate that's also being reported. And you're looking at Gauteng and Western Cape as well as KwaZulu-Natal. They still remain the top three provinces. And this, of course, as you're looking at some of these numbers, some of those who are either advising government or also some scientists or even vaccinologists, as you heard earlier on the show, Professor Shabir Mahdi saying that it is time to start lifting, the state of disaster and also lifting some of the restrictions, because they're not even helping in curbing the further spread of COVID-19. And of course, government has also been saying that if it moves too quickly to end some of these restrictions, it could be chaotic. It could find itself in a difficult position. And of course, this is happening at a time when the Department of Health is also going to present its own regulations that can come into effect should the next state of national disaster come to an end, which of course is what we are asking you tonight, as the government of course is meeting to decide whether or not to extend the national state of disaster. Let's take a look at what you say. Lekasa saying, Saluchane Batubekhetu, it's about time we go to normal life. Hashtag no masks, hashtag open stadiums. Some ANC officials enrich themselves with money meant to fight COVID-19 and no arrests made. Tsepo saying, let's go back to normal. We had enough of COVID-19 regulations, while some politicals are getting rich every day with PPE money, while fellow South Africans are dying. Mudimu Tusha. Delhi is saying evening, if government doesn't extend it, then we can never return to business as usual. But poverty, suffering and mental stress as usual. A lot has been learned about the pandemic and what's needed to manage it. We can take it from here. Makebi saying everyone is living their life like everything is normal. It's just the soccer fans and art industry that are suffering. You raise another point there. The industry, of course, of the arts also still reeling from the impact of some of these restrictions. Even soccer fans are eager to go back to the stadium and certainly looking to hear how government is going to, respond to these particular calls to end the state of national disaster, which of course expires at midnight tonight.